Hey folks, welcome back. Tim here, Gamiviti. Just got a new batch of our rain gutter towers in. I wanted to take a minute and just do a little bit deeper dive into all the features that have gone into the newest revision of these, all the different model changes that we've done, the different heights, how you use them, where they go, just kind of get into all that. So if you want to take a little bit closer look at our rain gutter towers, now's the time. Passenger vehicles. First and foremost, how do they get their name? Obviously, they're going to clamp to what we call a rain gutter on a vehicle, which in Land Cruiser speak is going to be your 40, 60, 70, 80 series models. Also cargo vans, Mitsubishi Monteros, old Jeep Cherokee XJs, that kind of stuff. They are pretty universal. Three pieces to it. I call this piece the body. This is what's going to rest inside your gutter, this surface here. We call this the clamp. New design on the clamp. I think I did that this year, maybe end of last. I'll show you that in a second. And then of course, the riser, which bolts to the body, like so, and provides all of our different height options. So as I said, I changed this clamp, and the old version, this 3/8 bolt was actually a welded stud, and it was welded to this. And one of the reasons for that change, obviously, was I was trying to take out a step from the manufacturing and reduce cost, which it did. And then steel went up, it kind of washed out. But anyway, that was one of the reasons for the change. But the more important reason for the change was actually usability on that. And when this slides into the body, of course, it slides up really nice and easy when there's no vehicle or rack in the way. But what I discovered was once it's on the truck, like you see on the 40 here, is getting this in and out became a lot more difficult when I wasn't able to tip that tower in. So order of operations for installation, you kind of had to put the tower up there, lean it in, then get the clamp up, then lean it back, then bolt the riser to the rack. It was a little bit trickier. So what we've done now is allow you to be able to remove this clamp and leave the body and the riser in place. And this becomes really useful for folks who want to take off their rack in its entirety from time to time. You'll see this very commonly where you have a lift system in a garage, where you have your tent stuck to your rack, stuck to your truck. You want to back in, undo the clamps, and just lift the whole mess out. So being able to separate this riser now, where I can pull the bolt out and then be able to slide it out and tip it and get it out of the vehicle, makes it to where this can stay with the rack and I can lift them all off in one piece. So that was the reason for that change. Long-winded there, let me know your questions. One last thing that's universal with all of the height options is these towers now ship with a little bit of this door edging. And the idea is you peel this little red backing from the adhesive, and then you can slide that over the bottom edge of the tower, like so. And that provides a little bit of a paint protection inside your rack. In some of the install videos you'll see, we recommend using some of this radiator overflow hose, which works really, really well. Costs more, certainly your option. I've also seen people use electrical tape. I've seen people use nothing. So it kind of depends on your vehicle and your amount of tolerance for scratching the roof. Everybody's truck's different, but just know that you have a lot of options for protecting that bottom edge there, either with the hose there or with the supplied door edging. So there you go. So let's get into the heights. And what I've done here is I've laid a board across the roof. Pretend for the minute that the roof rack isn't here. This is a 3/4 inch thick, 1x3 furring strip. We use it for shipping crates, but it works well. Find the highest point in your roof, lay a board across, and then we're just going to measure that gap between the board and the rain gutter to kind of determine, how high we want our tower to be. Excuse me. So you can see that 3/4 inch board just barely fits between the rack and the hardtop. That's really all the clearance that we get on the 40 racks. But let's go ahead and measure. So I got my tape measure here, and I measured down, and I'm right about 6 inches from the bottom of that board to what's probably the inside of the trough of the rain gutter. So that doesn't mean I want a 6-inch tower, because remember, we're gonna need some clearance. We're gonna need to add a little bit of space. Also on the Gamiviti racks, our plates are actually not at the bottom plane of the rack, but they're actually up inside the rack a little bit. They're midway on that 1-inch tubing. So I gotta add in for that. So add in a little bit of space for my clearance, a little bit of space for the plate. I really want that plate to be sitting in the 7.5-ish range, not really the 6-ish range that I measured here. So let's go look at the towers and see what they actually measure. So I made this little tower display in the back of the 40 here, and this is our extended height 45-degree tower, set exactly how it is on the rack here. And you can see it's measuring just under 7 inches. And this will extend up, if I want it to just about 8 inches. But again, I measured my gap at 6, and I decided, 7 was probably gonna be the best one. So that's what we're using on the 40s. High roof 60s or some vans are gonna be up there at 8. And let me just show you the others. This is our 45-degree tower. Again, it gets its names because it has 2 45-degree bends. And at its lowest setting, it's gonna be right at about 5 inches. And at its highest setting, it's gonna be about 6. So this is too low for the 40 because by the time we bolt everything up, that bar is gonna be laying on the roof. So it wouldn't work on the 40, but we use these a lot for 80 series racks, especially if you wanna clear a factory rack. Also for 60 series racks where it's an expo down and we need just a little bit more height in front, we might do a pair of these in the front only. So, and then our lowest tower, is gonna be our 30-60 towers. So down at its lowest setting, a little bit under 5 inches, and then it raises up to be about maybe 5.5 or so. Every one of these has a slot back here to allow for a little bit of up and down. And that's because your roof isn't exactly flat. It has a little bit of an arc to it as it goes. So the middle tower generally dictates the height. And then as we get front and back, it's gonna cheat up a little bit. Okay, so we got all the heights figured out. We know where we're going. So now what do they bolt to? Of course, if you have a Gamiviti rack or Gamiviti rack on the way, those are gonna bolt straight to our plates. Plates have a number of slots in them. And in general, they're gonna bolt to 2 of these, like so. And most of the time right in the middle of the plate, exception being if we had an accessory, like maybe one of our rack receivers where you wanted the rack receiver over here, we might move the tower over to there or something. So you'll see that at deeper dive in the rack receiver video if you need more info there. But in general, they bolt right to a plate on a Gamiviti rack. You can also use these to bolt to any kind of an extrusion or other crossbar system. For example, Rhino heavy duty bar, straight bolt up using the Rhino channel nuts, or a Rhino rack, platform rack. We use those little spring nuts. We sell the kits for those. Or maybe you're gonna get one of these 40 millimeter extrusions that we sell here. And again, that's just gonna bolt up to the same 2 slots in the middle of that tower. Really, if you can put a couple holes through something, you can find a way to bolt up our rain gutter towers. Very, very universal. Or maybe you like this profile better. This is the standard 1x2 aluminum extrusion. You see them on all of those extrusion racks. I'm not gonna name them this time, but if you notice on the lower of the 2 tower risers, 45s, 3060s, we've added 2 extra holes here, spaced 1 inch apart. And that is for you guys, so that you can bolt these rain gutter towers directly to these extrusions to either add a couple crossbars to your rig or even build out your own homemade extrusion rack. So there you go. And I think with that, I can wrap it up. So again, rain gutter towers, a lot of uses, fits a lot of different vehicles. You can see a lot of mounting examples if you watch any of our install videos for the 40, 60, 80 series Land Cruiser We're using these, pictures on the website. But as always, you can always ask me questions. Tell me what else you want to see in videos and in products. Thanks again for being with me today.